Well, welcome back, nerds, to the channel. I am so excited to be sitting down with a content creator that I have enjoyed behind the scenes, but also look to for inspiration when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV content. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to present to you Genji Gear, a YouTuber that has actually been really cool to kind of interface with behind the scenes. And today's video is actually going to be kind of an iteration, an extension of a video that Genji put out called The Truth About Streaming Final Fantasy XIV. And I did a reaction video to that where I kind of dissected some of his points, and we just both thought it'd be interesting to do a more unfiltered, a more casual discussion. So Genji, welcome. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Trevor, right? Call you Trevor, not or Nerdy.
Nerdy's great, actually. I don't think I've ever released my real name.
Okay, then let's redo it again, and I'll just call you Nerdy then.
No, that's great because my name actually isn't Trevor, so that's perfect. You're good.
It's not? I thought you told me. Okay.
No, actually, it's funny. People actually say that in real life too, and I don't know if it's because I slur my words sometimes, but
yeah, no, it's something
you see
else.
the email?
Yeah, I'm embarrassed now. Like, can we start again?
No,
Okay.
that's I am not offended, man. I'm
actually just gonna start calling you Trevor. How about that?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You know, I wanted to ask you, kind of as just like a little icebreaker here, Genji, is what is something about you as a content creator that maybe your audience isn't aware of? Like, what are some things about you that maybe your audience, and definitely my audience, isn't aware of about you?
I think some people maybe are aware of this, but like, I guess, that's a good question. I was gonna say like that, like my gaming YouTube channel is probably like the 4th or 5th channel that I have like on YouTube. It's my most successful. Not that my other ones are more successful. They're not very successful at all. But like I've tried a whole bunch of different things, and like I've worked on YouTube channels, and it's like I've been learning how to make videos for the past like 5 to I mean, since I was in high school. Like I've tried, like I have videos that I've made online of like me playing Call of Duty in like 2008 or Battlefield or Dishonored. They're not great. They're not like anything interesting or good. They never got any traction. But it's like, I guess this is probably a better place for it to start. Is I absolutely love like video games and podcasts, and I've been listening to podcasts and video game podcasts since like 2007. I've tried to start podcasts with my friends before podcasts were popular. It just never worked. I failed a billion times, and I feel like I'm still failing, but I've gotten some traction in the last like couple of years. So it's exciting, and it's like some people kind of feel like, oh, you just blew up on, in Final Fantasy, but I'm just like, dude, I've spent over a decade trying to like have any kind of traction with anything. So it's just like I didn't just like overnight like just have a video that was successful. It's like I'm still trying to do this, and I don't feel like I'm successful at it at all in any way. I feel like I've taken the first step, I feel like, after like 10 years.
That's interesting, because when I first found your channel, I don't know, it was probably 4 months ago, before I even started releasing Final Fantasy XIV content, I looked at your channel and was like, oh man, this guy really knows what he's doing. I mean, at that time, it was probably like your last 7 videos, your metrics were just like super solid every single time. I'm like, man, this guy really knows what he's doing. And my curious question always with content creators is like, was that a stroke of luck, or did you come into that with a marketing perspective of, this is how I'm going to blow my channel up? Like, how did that process work out for you?
Yeah. So the very first video that blew up, I mean, like 12,000 views, nothing crazy, right? That video I had absolutely like no like plan for. It was like the beginning of in January this year, and I had been working with another YouTube channel that has like, they got like 160,000 subscribers. I've been editing their videos. Wow. And I was just their editor. So I just started like seeing like, I mean, it's like business finance stuff, like absolutely like boring stuff about like the stock market, and like, just like, oh, the Dow Jones and the interest rates are going, oh, it's the most boring crap, but people would just, every day people would just love it, comment and read, people just for some reason loved that stuff so much. I was like, dude, there's people that like the things that I like like, this guy just talks about that all the time. People get excited about it. I'm like, dude, why don't I start, like, I was like, I need to start trying this again, because I like, you can look back. My channel, I had the channel before the Final Fantasy one. It has more views now, but it had like 100 views. It was like me and my friend playing Borrowed Trauma like 3 years ago now. And I was like, okay, it had been like 2 years, and I was like, you know what? I love Final Fantasy. I grew up playing it, and I heard a lot of things about this new one. We're not new, it's not new, but like, I heard a lot of things about it always, and I was like, I don't play MMOs, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. I was like, you know what? That would probably be a pretty interesting thing for some people. Maybe people would enjoy, like, someone that's not playing an MMO, that is coming in as a Final Fantasy fan, trying this game, what their perspective is. I thought few people would be interested in it. And I was like, I'll try it, and I'm going to stream it. And I just did it, and I remember just like looking at my phone, being like, "What the heck? Like, people really like this game." Yeah. Like I was like, "What the heck?" Like, I didn't get it. And then that's when I was like, okay, one video did well. Let me do it the next video, right? Because I was like, okay, is this a fluke? How do I do the next one now? You know, and I remember just like, dude, I wrote stuff down. I like thought about ideas. So like, I mean, I had watched videos of like Mr. Beast talking about like, if you want to start a channel, you need to have written down 100 ideas for a video, or else you shouldn't even start that channel. So I was like, okay. And then I was like, what is my angle? What is my thing? And I was like, okay, well, in that first one, I said that I'm judging this game based off, is this the best Final Fantasy of all time, right? And I was like, okay, that's kind of my angle, coming from someone that's not an MMO player, because I'm not going to compete with somebody that's played for, or I'm not going to compete with people's interest of someone that's played all these MMOs and then comes to Final Fantasy. It's like, I don't have any kind of nuance. Like, I was talking with somebody yesterday about it on Twitch, and they were like, they were critiquing like the end game. I'm like, dude, I've never reached the end game of any MMO my whole life. So right. I have nothing to add there, like, about what's wrong with Final Fantasy's endgame. I don't know, but I do know all my favorite Final Fantasies, and I'll compare this one to that. And that, some people like that, some people hated that because they're like, you're not comparing it as an MMO. And I'm like, well, that's not who I am, and I'm not going to just do what you want.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
No, absolutely. Absolutely it does. And I think it's interesting because, you know, I was sort of in the same vein where I actually went through like 75% of A Realm Reborn and made no content for it. And then was like, you know what, I'm just going to write a love letter to what I've experienced so far. It was a no face cam review. Like, I had no face in the video, and just wrote like a 15-minute script, and then just put a bunch of B-roll in there, you know, and then obviously used, you know, some really sick transitions and, you know, different effects, which I try to stand out in that aspect. And that like did really, really well. But what was interesting is the next week, when I was like, I have something else to talk about. When I posted the video, it absolutely tanked. And I was like, okay, it was a stroke of luck. And what I actually ended up doing is I took the video down and re-uploaded it like 2 weeks later with a different thumbnail. Yeah, and then it went to 17,000. And I was like, what? Like, I don't understand this. Like, is it literally just, there's so much that goes into it, but once I hit the 17, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do a weekly video. And now I have like literally like so many notes on my phone of like video ideas that I want to do. But the problem, and your video that I reacted to, it struck something in me because I have gotten to the point now where I have other games I want to talk about, but I feel stuck because I've actually released some other videos that weren't about Final Fantasy, and they were like the worst performing videos I've ever done. Yeah. And I wanted to know what your experience with that is. I looked at your channel, and you actually cover some really cool games that I resonate with, but it's like it doesn't hit the same threshold as the Final Fantasy videos, and I'm in the same exact place. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, have you looked into just how the YouTube algorithm works?
Yes, and unfortunately, I know that a lot of the suggestion is you want to niche down, and I have a hard time with that. Yeah.
Well, so the reason it happens is because, you know, when you build an audience, especially a niche audience, which is a great thing because it's like, okay, they like your content, they want the next thing. What YouTube does is it takes your video and it shows it to all those people. And if all those people that are playing Final Fantasy all the time that love it so much that they're still watching videos about it 10 years later, Those people
Right.
are not necessarily going to care about some other game you're talking about, because these are diehard fans. That's who YouTube thinks that your audience is, because it is in some sense.
Yes.
And now there's going to be a subsect of those people who do care about other games, and I have people like that watch me, that are in my community, you know, on my Discords, and watch me on Twitch, and they will show up to other games.
Wow. So,
But
I guess,
but it's like 3 or 4 people. It's not anything that it was before, you know, with Final Fantasy.
Right. So you're okay. So there's another thing that you mentioned in your video, which I do have some notes here that I kind of want to go through, but you're striking some things up in me that I just am like, I have these burning questions I've been wanting to ask you.
Yeah.
But how have you been streaming 5 days a week for, like, how long have you been doing that for? Because in your video you said 5 days a week. That's insane.
Yeah, so I was back then. So like I said, I was working on that with that YouTube channel, and then I stopped, and I like went into for 3 to 4 months. I streamed 5 days a week basically for like 3 to 4 months. I don't do that anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, and now I do it like 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, about two to three times is probably basically what I do. I mean, actually, the last week I've done about 5 days, because I just beat Alan Wake. I went and had 6 episodes. Yeah, 6 episodes. So I actually had been streaming almost every day, because I just did 1 episode a day for like 6 days, and I also tried some other games I've been playing. I play like Magic, and I tried Genshin Impact as a joke, basically.
Nice. I have not gotten into Genshin yet.
Yeah, I named it's a joke that nobody gets, because nobody watched the stream really, except for like 4 people. But it was like I'm gonna, because I stopped playing Final Fantasy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, it's the natural progression of a Final Fantasy streamer. Now let's try Genshin Impact, you know, because it's like what other famous Final Fantasy streamers have done.
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm not. I already.
Yes.
Yeah, I already deleted it. I'm not playing that crap, dude. I already deleted it.
So what's interesting is your comments on that video were surprisingly positive. Now, I don't know if you like went and filtered through, but I was actually like really encouraged by that, because when I watch your videos, I always get a very authentic vibe from you. I feel like you come off very authentically. You're not trying to be something that, you know, you're not, which I appreciate that. I think it's part of your branding that I really, really like. A lot of other content creators have put out videos with criticism against Final Fantasy XIV, and their comment sections did not look as supportive.
No.
So
No. You did not look at my comments then, if you think that they were positive.
Really?
Yeah, are you kidding me, man? That's like.
Oh wait. So was that on
you didn't scroll down. So maybe I did. Maybe I did hide a few. I have done a few of them where I'm just like, I just don't even want to deal with you. No, dude, there's absolutely negative comments all the time. People are absolutely mad at me all the time. So, but thank you. I don't mean to just derail and say you're wrong, but like, it's just that's something that like, I'm like, dude, it's something I absolutely have to deal with.
That's interesting, because I haven't watched your video of why you quit, only because I'm afraid to get spoiled, because I'm still in a Realm Reborn.
It will be spoilers, so don't watch it. Yeah.
Okay. So when I get through more of it, I might actually watch it, because I think your content's interesting. But the truth about streaming Final Fantasy XIV, I didn't do a super in-depth dive, but when I did scroll, I felt like people were like, hey, it's okay that it's not your thing. Yeah. And when I did a reaction to your video, I got hate comments, and I'm like, hold on, like, can we not have opinions? So I did have to go and like hide comments, because I'm like, bro, this is not the vibe I'm trying to create here. It was very odd.
I know, man. I know. So one thing. So I do think I'm kind of a like negative person in some type of a way. In this like I am kind of a critical person. Like I am kind of like I'll say. I mean, like, so I'm not a comedian, but like I've done stand-up comedy. Like I've done like open mics, and me and my friends like, dude, Xbox lobbies back in the day. That's where I was at. You know what I'm saying? Like I was yelling at my friend. Like I'm not the most just like happy-go-lucky. Like, dude, I'm just not. I try to do that a bit more on YouTube because I want to foster more of a positive thing, because I think it's just healthier to be more positive, and that's why I'm like, I maybe need to not do Final Fantasy things, Final Fantasy 14 videos anymore, because I'm like, I don't want to just sit here and hate on this game, but I'm gonna be authentic and real, and then that was that was like where I was butting up against, where I'm just like, am I just going to just like censor myself and just try to be happy and like say that I love everything about this game all the time when I don't? Because most of the things in my head after playing this game for 400 hours are just like all of the problems that I have with it.
Yeah.
When I can beat a game that's 10 hours long, 15, 20, 40 hours long, those negative thoughts, it's like, okay, yeah, they were there. Now, whatever, it's fine though. There's also a lot of good things. Like, I can weigh them. But then for me, it's just like playing a game for 400 hours. The things that continue to stick in my head are just the negative things. I might just be a temperament thing. It's like, I don't know what it is. So I have to move on to something else and find something else.
And that's fair. And I actually think that for you to have sunk that many hours into a genre that you don't naturally click with, I couldn't do that. I really couldn't do it. So for the fact that you hung in there that long is actually pretty impressive.
Well, thanks. Yeah. I mean, some people say it's not long enough, but yeah.
Well, I mean, 400 hours, that's a long time. I mean, you're pushing like some Skyrim playthroughs at that point, you know?
People said to me like it's like you're like judging the meal just by eating the side dishes. Just like, dude, like they're like, you're judging the
Right.
meal and the potatoes aren't even boiled yet or something. And my response is, if it takes 400 hours to boil potatoes, like,
Right.
come on, man.
Right.
You, but anyways, like I
And
said, I don't
that's
want to
fair.
get into the negatives. I'm not here to just bash on something.
No, I appreciate that. I think for me, I guess my curious question is like, do you see yourself creating any more content for Final Fantasy 14 in the future?
I've thought about it. I've thought about responding to some of the like the sentiments of the comments of people disagreeing with me, but it's just like, do I want to foster this thing where I'm arguing with people about their favorite game? Like, how is that going to, like, I can do it, but I'm just like, is that really what I want to do with my YouTube channel? Just argue with people and tell them that their favorite game's stupid? Like, that's so dumb. Like, like that's so mean, and it's just, it's not productive. I'm not going to change anyone's mind. At this point, what I said is definitely what I feel and think. So in my video of me quitting was like, right now, I don't foresee myself coming back to this right now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So no Dawn Trail for you?
No, I mean, I didn't even finish Shadowbringers, which is going to make everyone extremely mad at me. Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. I'm still in A Realm Reborn, so I'm like, I've taken 4 months and I haven't even gotten like to the end yet. So
yeah,
I'm not judging you at all. Not at all. And I have games that I certainly don't click with, but it's interesting because some of the other influencers that I have been watching as well, they've had some criticism come out, and some of their diehard, fans. They're like, they'll still support them. It's made me nervous to do further coverage, only because I'm in the same exact thought. Like, I don't want to have my brand feel like it's constantly flirting with, negative thoughts about games. So I've kind of put a pause on doing reactionary videos, only because when I did your reaction video, I actually was like, I'm like in bed scrolling through the comments, and I'm like, man, like, do people not think that there's a human on the other side of the screen when they're like writing these things? You know what I'm saying?
Were they giving me hate, and you just saved me from that by deleting those comments?
Well, there was a few where I was like, hey man, like, he's allowed to feel this way. Like, if MMOs aren't his tea, that's okay. And there were some, and I'm like, part of me is like, did they even watch through the video? Because I feel like they
probably not.
When I'm looking at my metrics, like, some of them don't even make it past their first 5 minutes, and I'm like, there's other things that Genji talked about that maybe you would have considered your comment to be a little bit different before posting. And so like I'm in bed that night on the mobile app, just like deleting comments, and I'm like, this is just like, I mean, first of all, like, I understand you love this game.
Oh, I love that.
But like, you don't have to be like actually mean, right? You don't have to be mean. And I don't know, like, that's something that's weird about YouTube. That's weird.
Yeah, 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 it's weird. It's one of those things of like I've tried to think about it, of like, and I've tried to watch other people's like talk about it of like, hey, is there something specifically in like toxic about this community, or is it just the fact that the internet is toxic in general, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, because hey, I just made a video. People are like mad at me because I said I don't think Resident Evil 4 should be game of the year, or I don't think that Spider-Man 2 is probably, I mean, great game. We're gonna get hate comments from here. Great game. I'm absolutely sure it's a phenomenal game, but I'm just like, it's just Marvel again and again. I don't think there's anything groundbreaking with like another Spider-Man game. I'm sure it's absolutely great, but we have games like Baldur's Gate, like Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
We have games like Tears of the Kingdom or whatever. And then if you say that, people are going to argue that those games are stupid and not innovative. Anyways, my point is the fact that people get mad at me about everything on the internet. So it's hard for me to say that people specifically get mad at me in the Final Fantasy community, but then there is this other side of it of like, there's these comments that are just like 5 paragraphs of people telling me that I'm an idiot and that I'm wrong, that I didn't do it right, and that I suck at the game, and that I didn't play it long enough, and that I didn't do enough side content, and that I didn't read this thing or I missed this thing. I didn't play the game right. My community did. People blame my community for not telling me what to do or something. There's so many things that people blame because they can't just be okay with the fact that somebody didn't have an amazing time with their favorite game. So, and go on. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I'm gonna
obviously keep rambling. So please.
So when you were at, let's say when you were at the peak of your Final Fantasy 14 content, was there ever a part of you where you're like, I could see myself doing this like as my niche as long as I enjoy it? Like, was there ever a part of you where you're like, this could be my long-term thing?
Oh yeah. I was like, okay, we're doing like weekly videos. Okay, I'm gonna be updating people on this. I have an idea of a video of this. Like I had lists and lists, and some of those videos I made, and some of them I didn't. And yeah, I absolutely was like, I'm gonna be a Final Fantasy 14 streamer. I was like, this is it. I'm gonna get big. I'm gonna try to just totally get into this. And I mean, I feel like if I didn't criticize the game, I would have continued to grow. And I knew that. But then, you also know that it's like, okay, but I'm not being authentic if I'm just only saying positive things. And it's so hard to say the things that I want to say without giving a billion caveats. And even if you do, people still get upset about it. So it's just like, it was bad for my mental health to just continue to, oh God, there's the buzzword mental health.
No, but I'm glad you said that, because so I guess 2 questions for you is, now that you've kind of taken a step back, what are your long-term goals as just a content creator, streamer?
Yeah.
And when you say mental health, have you had experiences where you're looking at metrics and you're just like getting caught up in your head? Like, is that something that you have experienced as a content creator?
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I look at it. But I don't like, I see it as a failure of myself though. Like, like I just see it of just like, okay, even if this video is not a Final Fantasy 14 video, if I do believe if I make the best video about this other topic, even if it's given to my Final Fantasy 14 community, YouTube will still share it to other people that might potentially be interested, or that could show up in search. And if the video is good enough, then it will still do well. And over time, it can broaden my audience so that I can have videos that perform better. So I think about it, and I just think of it as a sense of just like, I need to figure out ways to make better videos. That's basically what I think about when I think about like my metrics not doing well.
It's hard. I'll tell you, I don't know what your daily, your weekly release schedule is. I do Fridays, and it's gotten to the point where I've had to like put my phone away, because I post at noon, and I have to like put my phone away, because then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then into Monday morning, I am like obsessively checking. So for me, I have to put it away, because I'm very critical on myself. Yeah. So when it comes to performance, I really just tear myself up. So like if I'm gonna go out with my wife for dinner, right, I can't bring my phone that has the login credentials because I am going to be like scroll, check, refresh, and it's terrible. And there's been times where I'm like, I have poured, and you can probably appreciate this as a video editor. I have poured like days of editing into this thing, and it only get 400 views. I'm like, are you serious? Oh, it hurts so bad.
And here's the other thing, because like I've had friends that are like, hey, just don't check, just don't respond to the comments, just don't read the comments. And I'm like, hey, listen, if you
easier said than done.
If you have been trying to do something and accomplish something and achieve something for, you know, even if it's just like for like 2 years, say you've been trying to do this, you've been unsuccessful, you've been gaining traction, and then you finally are successful at this thing, you're finally getting people to like watch your videos, you're finally getting a little bit of traction. And to just say like, oh, also don't look at any of the feedback on any of that. It's like, are you crazy? It's like, no. I do agree that I probably should not read all of the comments. I probably should not respond to all the comments. Usually when I do and they're mean, I'm mean back. I should probably stop doing that. But it's like there's this thing in me that's like, hey, right now this is like something that's absolutely like taking me over, and I know it's not healthy, but I also know that like I need to go through it. I need to read all of these comments and get so sick of reading these comments that there is a point where in my psyche I'm just like not even interested in doing it anymore, because I'm just like, hey, okay, I've done it so much. Does not produce anything good. It does not make me have like a better idea or understanding of like of anything. And I'm like, for me, it's like I allowed myself to do it. I do think it's unhealthy. I do think it's bad, but I do think that by allowing myself to do it, rather than just being like, don't do it, and then always being tempted, I'm just like allowing myself to do it. And I think I'm kind of at this point now where I'm beginning to get to this point where I'm probably just going to eventually stop responding to any comments at all, and even metrics. Probably going to stop doing that. But I only am able to be at this point now because I did allow myself to like experience that. Like it's ridiculous to think that somebody's going to be so just like have such self-control and not need to care about what people. It's like, dude, we're all human. We're all going to care. We're all going to go look at the comments. We're going to look at the metrics. I say a lot. I say for myself, I need to do it, and then I'm going to move on from that, and then I'm going to eventually be a strong-willed, disciplined person that doesn't do that anymore, because I've just rolled around with the pigs enough that I know that there's just nothing good going to be coming from it.
And by no means am I perfect. I mean, like even last weekend when I did my reaction video to you, I like at 3 a.m. I had to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I'm like scrolling to see like, you know, did I hit 1,000? Did I get like a good like watch through rate? Did I get a good click through rate? And I don't know, it's hard because I don't know if you felt this before, but there's like definitely a temptation to like a sell out, like just do what's trending and popular. And I feel like I die inside when I'm trying to ride the wave. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I could ever be, and like Zeppela is way out of my league when it comes to content creation and building an audience, right? But like I inside I envy that, right? I'm like, oh, if I just had like 1,000 people who were like, we are so pro nerdy, like what would that feel like, you know? Because right now I feel like I have like 10 like loyal people in my community who are like really loyal. Other than that, I'm like the other 1,000 people that have subscribed to me, I'm like, I have no idea where they at, because most of my content is like 98% of these people are not subscribed to you. So I'm like, where are the people who are subscribed? Where are they?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, I've thought about that a lot too. And I've also like I've thought about that, but I've had to just get that out of my head, because it's like I just know that like for actual growth and success, it's like, and I'm not saying that you're not doing this, but like to actually succeed and to grow, at the end of the day, you really just need to focus on like what you're giving to people rather than like what they're giving to you, you know?
Yeah.
And
totally.
like I know that. And we all know that, and we have to just kind of like figure out that balance where it's just like we are people, we do have egos, we do want people to watch our stuff and to enjoy it and to just talk about things we like, but really at the end of the day we need to also remember like, hey, what are we for that to actually happen? You do need to be giving people things that like you have to be providing some type of a content that's entertaining enough that warrants that. Yeah.
That's fair. And I guess, with the reaction video, I have actually never like tagged a user in the description of the video. What did that? How did that come through? And when you saw that, did you think that the video was going to be a hating video? I'm just curious. Like, what were your
100%
thoughts?
I did. Yeah. So YouTube actually was like, sent me an email. They're like, someone's using your content. Do you want to strike it down? I was like, hell yeah, I do. This guy's going down. No, I was like, no, I mean, I 100% thought it was going to be a hateful video because I've gotten a lot of hate from the Final Fantasy community, but I was okay with that. It's part of the game, man. If people want to react to me and tell me why I'm wrong, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I mean, if they're being mean, then like I'll probably just ignore them. If some like I was absolutely, I thought it was gonna be negative. I was watching. I was like, all right, here we go. Cool, absolutely fine. If they're just gonna start being like rude about me personally, I'm just gonna block them, and I'm not gonna strike their video. I'm just gonna block them from me personally, so I don't see it anymore.
Right.
But then no, it was like, you weren't out. You weren't mean. So I was like, all right, cool. I was
well,
finally.
Behind the scenes, I had been watching you for months, right? So, which actually was like super inspiring because none of my thumbnails ever showed my face until I saw your channel, and I was like, this guy's doing great, man. Like, I love like his facial poses and how he's incorporating it into the titles. And so I got inspired by you, and I did a face thumbnail, and it did terrible. So I was like, okay, that's obviously not for me. But it's crazy because that after posting it, I don't know if you ever do this, but I like to rewatch the video once it's posted just to see like I want to experience it the way that the people
to give it some good watch time and give it a thumbs up.
Yeah,
so it starts off with good metrics.
On a different.
I've never done that.
Too.
I've definitely never done that.
Yeah. So as I'm watching it, I think it was probably around like 3 or 4 p.m. You actually put a comment in, and I was like, oh my gosh, like And so for me, you're a creator who I've been watching. And I knew about you. You didn't know about me. So then when you actually responded to this video, it felt like I was so giddy inside. I was like, oh my gosh, he sees me. This guy that I've been watching for months, like he sees me. And it was like, oh my. I know. And then when you emailed me, it was like just a whole other level. I was like, oh my God, I'm talking to him now. This is such a cool moment for me.
It's a cool world, man. So you don't stream much, right?
So no, I haven't streamed since 2017. I do some lives on YouTube, but I'm not a Twitch guy only because my real world doesn't really kind of allow for that right now.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no. So I just say that because I've experienced some similar things there just on Twitch because like Twitch has the really cool thing where you get rated, right? So it's like it was really cool. It's really hopeful to like when you're streaming, you got 16 people watching you, and then 80 people come in from another stream, and then like some streamer and then you go look at their channel, and they're like, this person has like 16,000 followers, and they just rated me, and you're just like, oh, this is so cool. Like, so I got to experience a little bit of that. I think that helped a little bit with some of my growth, definitely. The few times I had some things like that happen, but it was also just it's just a really cool thing to be like, okay, like these are real people. We can talk. It's like and I think for me that was something that like this right here. I didn't look very hard, but I did look. I was like, is there people that are also doing the same thing that I can talk to? And it's just I didn't really find anyone that like I felt like I could really talk to about any of these things as well, because a lot of the Final Fantasy streamers, I think they understand that if they're negative about the game, that they are going to lose followers. And I think that like a lot of the ones that are just trying to make it, that are just barely, like partners, Twitch partners, they probably are not going to want to talk to somebody that is like saying critical things about the game that their audience loves. So I was just like, I don't really know who I can talk to about these things. Like, I don't really know someone that's going to be like open to this stuff, because it seems like a lot of the people, even if they're cool and I'll raid them and they'll raid me, but if I go over there and watch their channel, they're like sitting in a nightclub with their followers and just like talking about like something that I don't know, like about the new Omega raid, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, what are they like? It's just, I don't know where I fit into any of that, because I don't really feel like I do, because I'm not going to play this game for 10,000 hours. You know, it's just not what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and that's fine. And actually, for me, I don't ever have a problem with people having a different opinion about a game. Actually, I can't tell you how many games I've bought for like friends or even my like some family where I'm like, you gotta try this game. I'll buy it for you on Steam. Just like play with me. And they're like, oh, dude, it sucked. I hated it. I'm like, oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
So your videos didn't.
I've done the same thing. Yeah.
They didn't put me off. I personally, I grew up watching one of my best friends play MMOs. So for me, I had this longing to experience that. I never had an MMO experience until 14. And so for me, I'm actually really enjoying Final Fantasy 14 online. I'm really, really enjoying it. And the reason why I say that is only because it fits with where I am in the real world. I don't have like the time that I used to anymore to be able to like spend like, 800 hours on like a Skyrim playthrough. Like Final Fantasy 14, I can log in for 30 minutes and get something done. And it just works for where I am in life. And I'm kind of a Final Fantasy fanboy in general. So I feel like it's allowed me to really just love the whole experience so far. I know a lot of people don't like A Realm Reborn. I've actually really enjoyed it. But by no means did your thoughts or opinions like trigger me or make me upset. I actually, if anything, would have appreciated a conversation, which is what's happening now, where I get to hear your perspectives, but also in watching your content, I learned that you love Bethesda. I love that you love choice-based games that I grew up on, that I still deeply resonate with. And sadly, I've tried to put content out for that, and it's done terrible. But it's cool to learn that about you.
Yeah. A couple of things there. First off, like why that stuff, like, so I've thought a lot about it. It's not really mystery to me, but it's like, hey, so those choice-based games that you're talking about, RPGs, like, Disco Elysium or something. It's like, okay, if you made a video about Disco Elysium right now, well, I mean, first off, maybe that game has a big enough community that actually will do decently. I did a couple of playthroughs, and I got like 300-400 views. I was like, oh, people actually care about this game, at least a bit compared to other games I've tried to play through. But in general, games like that, if you're going to make a video about them like today, and they came out 3 years ago, no one's going to watch it. If you made that video the month that game came out, it probably would have gotten more views, right? So the thing about Final Fantasy 14 and MMOs in general is they come out every month. So because the communities are paying, they're buying that game every month. So people are watching videos about it every month because they're buying that game every month. People are not buying Disco Elysium every month. They bought it 4 years ago. They liked it. They're not going to watch a video about it because it's not something they're purchasing and they're thinking about. But MMOs, the community of people that are watching videos online is overrepresentative of people that play MMOs. The conversation online is overrepresentative of people that play MMOs, because those are people that are continuously online playing a game every single month, whereas people that play Skyrim, I mean, Skyrim let's not use Skyrim because that actually has a community online, because of the modding community. Which is great. But let's just pick a different game. I don't know, like Dishonored or something. Okay, where's the online community of people that are watching videos about Dishonored every month? That are excited about it in the same way. Like those people played the game, they loved it. They maybe loved it just as much as people that love MMOs, but they just moved on from it and they're just not thinking about it anymore. You have to have a pretty compelling video to get people to think about a game again, that they just are not thinking about at the time.
Or even a brand. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the guy DB Geek on YouTube. Have you seen his stuff? Okay, so he also really inspired me because he's primarily a Twitch guy, and then he has like his editors just like chop it up and put it on YouTube. He exclusively does like games that are like on the fringe. So like right now he's going and playing through like I think I saw him playing like some old Nintendo games, and then he'll do like other variety stuff, like I'm playing Zelda for the first time, I'm playing Minecraft for the first time, and he's able to garnish so many views, and it's because his whole brand is based around I'm a fill in the blank virgin, essentially. Like,
Right.
this is my
Right.
first reaction, and then he'll move on. He won't stay with, like once he hits that peak on 2 videos, he's already moving on to the next thing. But then that requires you as a creator to constantly be buying new games.
True. Yeah. Yeah. He branded himself as that, and he put in the work for it. And there's a couple of things to that. First off, you and I did not brand ourselves with that, so it's ridiculous for us to think that we could just do that and it'll work, right?
Right.
So if you want to brand yourself like that, you have to do that, and it's going to take 2 or 3 years, and maybe even more, because I guarantee you that guy didn't just start this year doing that.
No,
he probably started at a time where YouTube was a little bit less competitive.
Yeah.
And there is a reality that things are just different now. So doing that right now is going to, you do one video about a random game that nobody heard about. The few people that heard about it watched the video, but then you do another video, and the people that liked that last game don't like this next game. That tells YouTube that like the content that you're giving out is not really consistent. It's just the way it works now.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely unfortunate, but it is what it is.
If you can go back in time, let's say 10 years, that's I feel like 10 years ago, the gaming niche was way more open. What would you do differently if you could, with all your knowledge now, what would you go back and do?
Well, let me tell you what I did 10 years ago. So so I had a PlayStation 3 like around 2007 or so, 2008 maybe, like around then. I bought a Hauppauge, which you'll never know what that is. It was like this German capture device that was like had like the highest quality of like capturing like footage back. It's a capture card, but it was like one that would do like a console that you didn't need like a high level PC. So I had like a laptop. It hooked into like this Hauppauge, like hooked up, and it was like this insane stupid thing. And I tried making YouTube videos. I tried starting a podcast with my friends, but the thing that I failed, the reason that looking back at it, it was like the people that I was doing it with were my friends who had families who like weren't as excited about games. They didn't understand the grind of making content, someone like you and I do these days. And it's like when you're trying to get into this stuff, it's like you want to just talk with your friends about video games and like, oh, wouldn't it be cool just to get paid money to talk about like video games with your friends?
That's the dream. That's the dream.
Yeah, but it's like, but your friends don't want to do it. Like your friends don't want to buy this microphone, get this camera, make 400 videos on YouTube that nobody watches. Your friends don't want to do any of that,
right?
They'll answer your phone call and you can talk to them about the cool new game that's out, but. What I would have done differently is I would have tried to find people that were like me sooner, so that I could have, so that I could have actually fostered an environment to have conversations that I think it would have worked. If back then, I think I just would have been able to talk about games and it would have worked because there were so few people doing it. And if you had the technology and the know-how to do it back then, you could foster a community as long as you didn't quit.
Yes.
So I wouldn't have quit it, and I just would have found people that would have been as interested in it as I was. The actual content I would do, I don't know. You have to just figure that out as you're going.
So I guess that leads me to the question of what's on the horizon for Genji, and what are some of your long-term goals now that you're pivoting away from Final Fantasy? What's on the horizon for you?
Well, I just finished a playthrough of Alan Wake on my and I have 2 channels because I have a clips channel. So I just finished a playthrough there. I'm gonna review that. For my YouTube channel, for my main YouTube channel, I've been thinking a lot about it because I think you and I both we're like, hey, we're gonna stand out because we know how to make videos, we know how to edit, we know how to, we're videographers, and I think that is kind of a flaw. I think that's something that maybe makes us stand out in some ways, but I think in other ways holds us back really hard. Like we were kind of talking about like the setups and quality and stuff. It's like there's things that you and I care about more than other people care about.
That's true.
And I think that also comes with content of like, it was hard for me for the past year to be like, well, I'm just gonna like I was like, I'm not gonna just make a video like Asmongold, just like the most clickbaity like topic and just
Yeah.
like I was like I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna have more produced stuff. And I still have like a desire for that a bit, but there is this thing of like, I've been doing this for a year, this is the traction that I've gotten, it's not enough to really be sustainable. So I do think I'm going to try to get better at being more concise when I'm talking, which you guys can all tell I'm not good at. But I'm going to try to get better at that and try and just turn on the camera and talk about things and make videos about ideas that I've had. Because like I told you, I had like a whole list of like ideas that I wanted to make videos about. Some I made and some I didn't. And because the ones I made, I spent 4 days editing. I spent
Right.
I spent 20 hours on these videos. Sure, sometimes they pay off, but it's just like, so I do need to find a balance of like, you know what, I'm going to just turn the camera. So if you watch like my last video, Game of the Year was announced. I was here working at home on my laptop editing videos, and I was like, hey, this just happened. I was like, dude, I can turn the camera on and I can talk about this for 6 minutes and then just upload it to YouTube. And I think it'll do well. And it did, I mean, it got over 1,000 views. For me, that's great. Like, that's fine.
Which actually, I it's funny because I was watching that video at like 3 a.m. So I just had a son, my very first child.
Oh, congratulations, man.
Newborn, 6 weeks old. So I'm doing like a shift schedule with my wife. So I'm doing bottle feeding usually from like 12 a.m. to like 4 a.m. So what I usually do is I'm holding him, like giving him the bottle, and I'll have like my phone set up so I'm watching like YouTube because it helps pass the time. His feedings are usually like 45 minutes, right? So I actually clicked on your video, the Game of the Year, and I'm watching that video, and I was like, man, this guy, he got the right topic at the right moment. I was like, man, what a great idea. But you're right, it's a curse because I spent 4 days creating animations in After Effects. For 1,000 views. And I'm like, bro, like I sell this to clients for like $1,000. You're going to tell me that I got 1,000 views. And then you have like Joe Schmo who's like uploading like literally no effort content. And I'm like, he's got 1 million views on this video. And I'm like, what? It's a curse. It's a curse.
Yep. So I think you have to decide, hey, am I going to be highly produced? And if I am, you need to be picking a topic that's broad enough that will maybe warrant that video. I mean, hey, do whatever you want. First off, right? The caveat, like you don't need, but if you're trying to grow and you are trying to be successful, it's like you do need to maybe do a little bit of research of just like Google Trends of just like what games are people playing that like if I spent, a week editing this video, making it really nice, that the audience was big enough that like actually maybe it would get 20,000, 40,000 views, who else is doing things like this? There are Skyrim, videos that are 20 hours long that have 4 million views, like
I know.
They're like you can do whatever you want. And there is room for highly produced videos. I'm not saying that, you shouldn't. But you need to be like realistic of like the topic. So it's like the Game of the Year thing. It's just like, okay, I made a video on that real quick. If I would have spent 4 days doing it, it would have been old news. Also, is this video going to maybe be good for like evergreen? No, it's not going to be an evergreen video. But if you make a highly produced evergreen video, so I would say if I'm going to make highly produced content, it's going to have to be evergreen, and it's going to have to be about something that people care enough about that it will be have a big enough audience so that maybe the reward from it is actually worth it.
That's actually like gold tier advice. I actually really appreciate that. And I think you're right. I think in our heads, we're like, every video has to be gold standard. And I think that's actually a trap. And actually, I don't think I've ever said this publicly. But with a newborn, I don't have time. Like I'm on paternity leave and I'm still trying to grow this as like a side hustle. But I'm actually outsourcing. I've outsourced my editing for the last 3 weeks. And they haven't gone live. It does cost money. They haven't gone live yet because I try to stay 6 weeks in advance. So I have 6 videos in the queue. And I'm always like operating from like that kind of bank. But there will be a month in the next actually it'll be next month where there's 3 videos where I've outsourced completely because I just don't have time to edit.
Yeah.
And it's actually been really freeing because now I get to just focus on like the constant filming, and it's actually kind of taking the pressure off me a little bit. And I don't know, I've admired you because I feel like maybe because you are a streamer, your brand is so heavily entwined in your personality and your face. Yeah. My Final Fantasy videos didn't take off with my face. They took off with a video essay. So when I'm trying to do MSQ stuff, I'm getting barely 1,000. When I do video essay stuff where my face has nothing to do with it, I'm hitting like 15,000. And I'm like, oh, like video essays, they require a lot of, and again, not that I don't enjoy that, but that's the tension.
So let me tell you my thought process of that, because that was something kind of intentional for me, like why I was showing my face and that I'm on camera in my videos, which maybe I won't always do that, but I thought, okay, I have high quality equipment. I actually am halfway decent at talking. I know that I can ramble, and that's why I have to edit everything. But I was like,
same.
Yeah. But I'm like, hey, like I don't like, even though it just seems like there's a billion people out there doing that, in the reality, there's always room at the top, right? That's what you got. That's how you have to think about it. And I was like, I do think this is a competitive advantage, because sometimes like I'll watch videos in like a game I like, and people don't show their faces. It's all really nice written out and all this thing. And that's great, and I appreciate that. But I'm like, do I want to compete with that person, or do I want to compete with, or do I want to not compete with that person, not have to put as like much, like it's not time and effort, because it's just different ways of using your resources. It's like I looked at people like that I like, admire, that I really enjoyed, that I watch, and there, people like PewDiePie or Asmongold, or just
sure.
I mean for me, like Peter McKinnon as well. Like I'm sure you know Peter McKinnon, right?
I'm
right.
Actually, the name sounds familiar. I'm not familiar with their content.
Do you know you know Casey Neistat, right?
Oh yes, yep.
I mean, so it's just like, it's an offshoot of that kind of vlogging, but it's someone that's very videographer and photographer centric. Okay. So I've done like travel vlogs, I've done vlogs, and like I'm like, hey, wow, I've developed a skill to be able to talk to the camera. I'm still developing it. I'm not amazing at it yet, but I'm like, this is something that I do think that I have a little bit. I have like 4 points in it, of between 0 to 100 or whatever. But like I have some points in this skill.
Yeah.
Let me have that be my advantage rather than the writing, because even though I can write, it's like I'm just not as good as those people that are insanely analytical, that just like can like write like this giant essay. It's like I write like in my video, in my final last one when I'm quitting Final Fantasy 14, I probably wrote that. I wrote like 4 drafts for that. I wrote it out. I had my laptop here. I didn't say it word for word, but I like you think when you're writing, right?
Yes.
So I do write, but I'm not able to craft it in a way where it's like can be this like essay that like I can just read off and then like it's a great video. It's like I'm like I need like the face to face, the human connection. I need to do that because I can't compete with these people that are better than me at writing.
So I guess, I mean, that's really good. That's actually really good advice as well. It's like, how do you want to future proof your content? And I actually put a poll out over the last 3 days, just trying to get some grip on like, who is my audience? And it's kind of interesting because each day the data was a little bit conflicting. Like one day it's like, oh, we're only here for Final Fantasy. And then the next day it's like, we will watch any video essay you put out. And I'm like, okay, so which is it? But I think I've come to the point where the things I really, really want to do, which does include Final Fantasy, but is that going to future-proof for 10 years? I don't know. But the things I do care about being more video essays, maybe that deserves its own channel. And so I've been teetering and flirting with that idea probably for the last month.
So you over. Nerdy with a 6-month-old child who's already outsourcing his video editing is going to start yet another YouTube channel. Is that what you just told me?
Yes, because and yeah, I know it sounds crazy. I know it absolutely sounds crazy. So like behind the scenes, my background is in marketing, and so I have a
marketing degree as well.
Perfect. So I have some like business stuff that I'm like kind of using as some funding to kind of help push and outsource some of this, and that's also a great write-off at the end of the year. So I'm kind of using that, and I also found, like, I don't know if you've ever worked with Fiverr, but like the guy that I got on Fiverr, man, it is like a steal, and I like tip him really well, and it's still super affordable. And so my thought is, what I want to do is outsource this current channel completely. I just want to sit down and film and hand off, but then my second channel, I want to release once a month, and I'm going to pour all of my editing into, like, all the special effects, all the voice effects. Like, I want to pour all that into that and just be a monthly drop. And if it does well, great. If not, I'm getting that fix as a content creator.
Yeah.
So that's my plan.
That's great.
That's my plan. We'll see.
That's great, man. Yeah.
We'll see how it happens.
Absolutely. I mean, I've thought about it as well. You know, I've thought about it as well. You know, the second channel I have is just my live uploads, and nobody watches them. But it's just, you know, I just have them just in case people do want to watch something that I've done on stream. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's just all resources, man. I know personally, I'm just like, I have my own business also, and I'm just like pulled in a billion directions. So I'm just like, okay. Yeah. I mean, I already have 3 other YouTube channels. Like, so I'm just like,
you're like, do I want to do another one?
I'm like, I need whatever I need to do for myself. I need to just figure out how to do it on this one, make it work. And maybe if I'm, you know, have 100,000 subscribers at some point, I'll make another one that, like, where I can be a little bit more segmented. But I'm not trying to do Final Fantasy or anymore. So I'm freeing. I freed myself from these shackles. I feel like like now I'm just like, I just do whatever I want. And if no one watches it, that's okay. I'll learn to get better so that I will eventually find an audience that will watch it. And if that never happens, I'm going to at least enjoy doing it. And that's, you know, that's it.
Do you find yourself wanting to be more of like a successful Twitch or a YouTube, or maybe both?
No, dude, I never wanted to do Twitch. And
really?
Never. I was like, I'm going to make YouTube videos, and then I was like, well, since I'm making these videos and I'm playing the game anyways, why don't I just stream it? And I was like, I'll get 4 people to come watch me, but I was like, I'll just do that just because it's just like, whatever, we'll see what happens, you know. And yeah, it just started growing, and I think that kind of messed with me too, because I almost felt like I was like worrying more about streaming than YouTube, and I cared way more about YouTube.
Same. I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. I felt tempted to start doing Twitch again, which I did back in 2017, and I really burned out. Like, I actually quit video games for like half a year. I was doing 6 nights a week. And it was just too much. It started to feel like homework. Like, video games started to feel like a really heavy burden, because I was trying to entertain people, which was really impressive to learn that you did that for like 4 months. Was fine. I feel like when I'm with a live audience, there's a lot of pressure to be like on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How did you mitigate that for so many months?
Well, so I've played in bands, and like I said, like I've done like stand up,
which is very impressive, by the way. You're a master of many, a lot of really cool, unique skills.
Just whatever. Thanks, I guess. Like, it's like, have you heard of my stand up? Have you heard of my bands? You've barely heard of my YouTube channel, right? Like, it's not like,
I bet you I would enjoy it though. I bet you I would enjoy it though.
Thank you. But anyways, you know, I like performing, you know, I like it. So it's, but I don't know, man, Twitch is more than just that. It's also mitigating communities. It's also like, or not mitigate. It's like managing, like, it's like almost like babysitting in some ways. It's like, you have to like, you're like, okay, what's going on here? Do I have to like step in because these people are saying crazy things? It's scary. Yeah. It was really scary live. I'm just like, is people gonna be mean to me like live? I'm like, and I'm gonna freeze up and everyone's gonna laugh at me.
Yeah, you know? that's a real thought. That's a real feeling. That's a real. I
just did it.
I had a weird experience. Not weird in a bad way, but in 2017, I felt like Twitch was like kind of still really kind of blowing up. And I did variety stuff. I did a different game every night. and I would post my schedule on YouTube or on Instagram back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was basically just doing old school like games. I did not have this tech I have now to be able to do any PC gaming. So
yeah, just get an emulator and just pick a game, right?
Actually, yes. I did. That's exactly what I did. And I had this crappy old like laptop I had still from college, and I also had an external capture card, and I would run it through, and then just broadcast. And I think the most successful night I had was only like 12 viewers. But I remember going to bed that night and feeling like,
nice.
I don't feel authentic, man. I feel like at the end of the night, my throat is killing me. I'm talking all the time. And I never really came back to it. I mean, you could probably find my Twitch. I think I did like a couple lives like 3 years ago, but I just never really came back to it. Yeah, I've always been more attracted to like a finished product. Like you can watch from start to finish. This is my video.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and yeah, it sounds like you need to do that a bit. Then it sounds like you need to make those videos that you're talking about of just like spending a month editing them, man, because. Yeah, you need to do that then. Don't stream. Don't do any of that crap then, you know? Like Yeah. Now, I mean, yeah.
As a practical question, I'm like super curious to know like other content creators like methodologies, but like walk me through from start to finish your video creation process. Like what software are you using? Are you like, do you have like a notepad that you're like, okay, I want to hit, like, what does that look like for Genji?
Yeah. Let me grab it right here. So I have a laptop. You've heard of laptops, right?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just get it up real quick. So yeah, have you heard of Microsoft Note?
I have, yes.
Yeah, right. So, or actually, that was an unintentional joke. I actually do use Notepad. No, but this is OneNote.
OneNote. Okay, yes, I've used that many years ago. I typically use Microsoft Word for my brain vomit.
Right, and that's great too. So like, I have this program here. I'm gonna share a screen with you. So it has like these tabs up here where you can like, you know, do whatever. So I have script, video ideas. So I have scripts.
Wow.
And then right here it's like so like here Honkai. I played Honkai Star Rail and I was like, okay, here's the game, and I started writing like a script for it. I just write any of my ideas down for any game. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I have like a thing I've written. That's all I've written about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Oh, here's a Realm. This is a Realm Reborn review that I never did.
Oh man! You should release that from the vault, man.
This is another Final Fantasy XIV that one I did. Taking a break from Final Fantasy, and then I like probably did another one taking a break from Final Fantasy. This is Final Fantasy XIV.
Man,
this is my last video that I did for Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh my gosh! So hour wise, like just for example, for that particular video, what was the scripting duration for you? Like how many hours was that?
4 maybe. Four.
And you're just like locked in, and you're just
So I'll have an idea. I'll write it on my phone notes first, right? And then like, or I'll write it in there. I'll just write like I have one page that's just all my ideas, you know, whenever I get them. And then I just write, and then I find it's best like for. This is just me because like there's so many different ways to do this. For me, what I found was like I'll write it and I'll have it on my head and I think it's good, but it's better if I just like throw that away and just write it all again. Just write it again because it's like it comes out differently, and it's like I'll have videos come out so differently. They're on the same thing. I'm saying the same thing, but they just come out differently because I just wrote it again and I can just say it more concisely. It's like that famous quote of just like. Like I apologize for like the length of this letter. If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter, right? Like because it's like there's like I mean that's my biggest critique of Final Fantasy XIV as well, by the way. But but like so I'll do that like 3 times probably, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, and then I'll grab that laptop and I'll put it off screen, and I don't read it word for word. Sometimes some lines I will, but I'll get to a paragraph and I'm like, this doesn't flow well, and I'll just say a different paragraph that just works better. And so I'm filming with, I have I'll show you. I have like my Aperture 600D.
Man, I love
Dude,
that.
I just bought that. I'm so proud of it.
I love that, man.
I had a Godox 60 watt one that I've been using for everything except for the last video. I used this one. This is brand new. And then here, I'll grab the other thing.
I freaking love that. That is, I'm having some gear envy right now.
What was that? What lights do you got?
No, I said I'm having some gear envy actually.
Oh, sorry. I don't mean to do that because that.
No. I'm like, oh man, I need to upgrade, man. I've got like my lights are
dude,
like
don't.
low tier.
Do not do that, man. Don't upgrade, man. If you're making money with what you got, just keep making money. But I got the Canon R6.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so I have this Deity mic. I also have a Rode N4 or something like that, and then like a little H5 zoom, one of the zooms, you know.
For your microphone.
Yeah, I can just show you. They're right here.
Man, that's so cool. Oh man, check that out. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I'll set all that stuff up, but honestly, that Deity mic, shotgun mic, has been just fine because I'll record like that, record right here in the room, take the file, I'll put it in Premiere. I have DaVinci, but I use Premiere.
That was my next question: is what is your video editing software preference?
Yeah, it's Premiere. I'm just better at it. DaVinci's great, but obviously the coloring's better in DaVinci, but I usually don't, doesn't matter. And then I edit the video, and then I take the audio file and I export it as a wave, and then I upload it to, from what I'm doing now. I used to edit it myself. Sometimes I edit it myself, but I'll upload it to Adobe AI Audio Enhancer. It's a free tool. Okay. It's a free tool that will just mix your audio. I've been trying to use that lately just because it saves time and because I'm not really an audio engineer. Like I can do it, but I'm just like,
yeah,
have AI do it for me.
It saves so much time.
Yeah, and I'll take that file, throw it back into Premiere, and then I'll do the part that I hate the most, which is screen record so much. Oh, that was the reason I started streaming too, because I was like, I'll have all the footage I can use for the videos.
Yes. So the scraping of the B-roll, the video game B-roll,
it takes too long, man.
So tedious.
I hate it.
So tedious.
It takes so long. It takes just as long as every other part of the video, and it's like the part that people don't even like notice or care about. Like I don't know. It does matter, but it's just like, yeah. So then I have like Epidemic Sound. I'll download a song. Sometimes I don't. I used to do more like production of just like having an intro and editing things in, like fun, cool, like stuff popping in the screen. But I just don't have like, it's just, I don't have the will for it anymore to like spend hours editing little animations that, I mean, does it give me more subscribers? I don't think so. So I'm just kind of over it now.
There was one time, which unfortunately it was early on, where somebody's like, the editing on this video was so amazing. It was only one person that said that, right? And it hooked me, and I was like, yes. I can never decrease my quality now. And I've never got that comment since. It was like one comment, and you're right. Like me, like cutting out my head so I can have animations behind me and masking it, and like, is that gonna gain me 300 subscribers? Probably not. So there's a lot of tension there, right? And I'm also a Premiere guy. Premiere is just, I don't know. It's home for me. It's home for me. So I have the whole Adobe suite, and I pretty much exclusively use After Effects and Premiere for all my work.
Yeah. Well, I use Canva for my thumbnails.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
so easy.
I do Photoshop for thumbnails, but
doesn't matter.
I haven't really used Canva. There is one thing that I've switched to, which is really cool. I pay $20 a month for it. It's an AI tool that goes and it cuts out all the silence and then compresses the video, so I can turn an hour and a half, like me fighting Ifrit, right? I just drop it in, and it's a window through Premiere, and it goes and it says, what's the threshold of your sound?
Yeah.
and I tell it, and it goes, brrr, and then
Dude,
it
I want
compresses
that.
it.
Give me that. How do
And
you send me
dude,
links later, man?
I will. It turns like one of my Final Fantasy like Ifrit fights. It was like an hour and a half. It turned it into a 20-minute video.
Oh, that's great.
And then all I have to do is go in and
that's great.
butter up and pretty it up, which was
I can do that with all my stream, dude. I can do that with
you
my Alan
can
Wake
convert
streams.
everything, man. You
Everything
can
from
convert
now on.
everything. And what's so amazing is that at the end of so it takes about 20 minutes depending on the length. So I'll like drop it in and then go like make food or maybe some tea or something. And at the end of its cycle, it'll say this program saved you X amount of minutes.
Of course they did. And we're going to charge you for them.
And and this is how we make sure you subscribe next month to this tool. And unfortunately, they've got me in a chokehold because now I use it for clients. I can't not use that anymore. I hate manually going and doing and scrubbing that myself now.
Dude, please give me that because I can just do because sometimes like my videos that are 15 minutes long, it's 45 minutes of me talking, and then I have to just edit it down. I mean, most of the time it's like I just stutter or say something wrong, and then I got to take it out. But still, if you at least can take out all the dead air, I've looked for that exact tool and I have not found it. So please share that with me because I need that tool.
I got you, man. And there's an auto zoom feature, so if there's certain inflections where it'll pan into your head.
It'll know, yeah.
Which is good. It's so cool. So cool.
So one tool that I've had some success with is called it's like there's a billion of them I think online now, but it's like Vidya, like VIDYA or something.
Oh, okay.
And you can upload like 90 minutes like a month for free, which I do, and it will like try to take your stuff and turn it into like a short form content clip, right?
Oh wow.
And it does an absolutely horrible job of it. But what it does do a good job at, it's junk. But what it does do a good job at is identifying what are like the good spots. So I'll upload a video, and then I'll look at like the 7 clips it gives me, and I'll pick like the 3 best, and then I'll go back into my video and just grab those 3 clips. Because I know now that like this was a good little chunk, you know. Because sometimes it's hard to tell. Like you can do it, you could do this. This is not like a hard thing, but sometimes it's hard for me to watch the video again and know that like this chunk is like a good like a little bit, because for me I'm like, oh, but you need all of it like to understand all the context.
Yes.
So having an editor for me to do that helps me out a lot, I feel like.
I've noticed on your shorts you have really punchy subtitles. Are you doing that manually?
Yes, in Adobe.
Oh my gosh. I cannot
it's not that hard. I can show you how to do it. I've gotten pretty
describe
good
to
at
you
it.
the hate I have for auto subtitles. I can't describe to you the hate I have for that.
Why?
Because video editing for me, I like being creative, and I feel like that is one thing that is just tedious. I cannot stand doing subtitles.
But it does it. But it autofills it.
Does it autofill it?
Yeah, I can show you how to do
Really?
it. Yeah, I can show you how to do it. It's easy now. I can do it. So I've done it for a while. I know how to do it now that it does not take that much time.
Is that the new Premiere update?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I can show you how to do it.
And I just, it drives me absolutely insane.
Don't do that. It sucks.
Don't do that. Yeah. Well, if there's a simpler way, I am all ears. I am all ears.
Yeah, I can show you later. It does not take that long. So because I was like I got to learn how to do this for clients. So I do want to get like a plugin that like pops it in more, but you don't even need to do that. I think just having it big and on screen and in like a short couple word bursts is good enough.
And I love your font too, man. I really enjoy your font. It's like perfect for like gaming aesthetic. And I was like, man,
it's the Mr. Beast font.
One of your shorts came up, YouTube shorts came up on my feed the other day. Probably another 4 a.m. feeding session, and I was like, man, his subtitles are so clean, man. They're so.
It's
clean.
the Mr. Beast font. It's the Mr. Beast.
Oh, okay, maybe that's where I saw it from. Then it's very clean.
Yeah, man. I just like looked up what font does Mr. Beast use, and I just downloaded it. I'm like, that's what I'm gonna use.
That's so freaking smart. That's so smart, man. Oh man,
yeah.
I love all these like little insider secrets.
Yeah.
It's great. It's so freaking great.
Well,
I do have one last question.
I need more
for you.
than that. Yeah. Go on.
Is and this is more of a philosophical question, and this pertains to you both as a content creator and even just you as an individual. But if you could go back at any point in your life, future or past, and you were to experience yourself at any age, again, future or past, what age would you choose to experience yourself in a conversational setting, and what would you talk about with that version of yourself?
Can I go to the future?
You can go to the future, yes.
I mean, that's kind of cheating, right? Because you could just go talk to your 80-year-old self and just ask what's up, right?
I mean, I would do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Be like,
Yeah,
what are the
I
things
mean-
I should avoid?
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's that like me looking at my past, I'm like, I don't. Yeah, I'm not interested in who I used to be. You know what I mean? I'm kind of more interested in who I'm going to become. So I guess that's kind of more what I'm thinking about. Like, let's.
Do you think that would
Let's,
unlock the butterfly effect, where now that future version of yourself no longer exists because now you have all the wisdom and knowledge that that previous iteration of yourself does?
Yeah. I mean, like, if we're this is like a game, so I'm playing it along with you. But it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't really believe, like, philosophically, if we're talking, it's like, I don't think there's like alternative ways for things to be. Not that I think like everything is just like predestined and you can't change it. I absolutely think you have free will, but I just think that there is no other version other than like who I am and who I'm going to be. I don't feel like there's like a version that would have done this or that. It's like theoretically yes, but it's like I just am who I am. I don't know if that probably doesn't really make any sense.
No,
But
I like that. I like that. And honestly, Genji, it has been so cool to hang out with you today. I appreciate you even just setting this up and even reaching out. Like I wasn't sure how you were going to receive like the reaction video, but I'm like really, really thankful that you reached out and we were able to have just a really kind of just candid conversation about things we cared about. And I love it, man. So thank you for your time today. And honestly, all the nerds who are watching this video, please go and give him his channel some love. I'll link it in the description so you all can go subscribe and give him some likes as well. And yeah, until next time, stay nerdy, and we'll see you guys later. Cool.
yeah, thanks for having me, and congratulations on your new son, man. That's awesome.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.